Let's go back to 1987. Reagan was in the White House, Thatcher was at number 10, and Rick Astley was promising to never give you up. A promise that he has stuck to this very day. And it was also the year that WrestleMania went from frisky flight of fancy to fully fledged phenomenon, as a body slam in the center of the Pontiac Silverdome sent a butterfly effect across the pop culture landscape. But were we rocked or shocked by this particular year's WrestleMania? Why don't we find out together? My name is Tom Campbell, and this is WrestleMania III Retrograded. First of all, wow! Pontiac Silverdome, full of people. Such an amazing visual. Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura are our commentators for tonight, along with random appearances by Mr. Baseball Bob Uecker and Mary Hart. True story, they were trying to get Arnie for this one, big old Schwarzenegger. Jesse Ventura flew out to a movie set that Arnold Schwarzenegger was on to try and convince him to come and get a piece of WrestleMania action, but he said, nah. But offer me an episode of SmackDown in 1999 and I'll be there with bells on. He didn't say that. I imagine if he knew what was coming, he probably would have done. You can really tell that this is a different time to the one that we live in now. You look out across this sea of people and there are no camera phones. There are barely any signs. And above all of that, there is massive posters advertising Marlboro cigarettes all along the top of the stadium. Yeah, that ain't happening now. After a gravelly Vince McMahon introduces us to Miss Aretha Franklin to sing the national anthem, we are underway with the Can-Am Connection, Tom Zenk and Rick Martel facing the magnificent Muraco and Cowboy Bob Orton, with Mr. Fuji in their corner because of reasons. The Can-Am lads outmaneuver Muraco and Orton for most of this one. We see Orton get a little cheap shot while he's on the apron that gives a little bit of an advantage to the opposition, but it's all about Zenk and Martel. They drop kick Orton out of the ring before the finish to this, and then they hit a crossbody on Muraco. Martel does, rather, for the 1, 2, 3. Big win for the Can-Ams. Gets a C+. Great way to start the show. Good match with these guys. Wasn't overly long, wasn't overly showy, but Can-Ams look good. I think if they stick around as a tag team, they'll be a major part of the tag team division, but I don't think they will somehow. I think there's bigger ideas in mind for Rick Martel down the road. Next, it is Billy Jack Haynes versus Hercules in a battle to determine who is the master of the full Nelson. A claim that will be argued later on down the line by the Warlord, Chris Masters, Adam Shreddy Foster, and that overly aggressive mate of your dad's who likes to wrestle in the pub sometimes. Yeah, it's a weird one, that is. This is a pretty plodding affair with two big lads. They're both good at military presses. We learned that early on. We see Hercules wearing down Billy Jack Haynes, clubbing him on the back, trying to lock in that full Nelson. Can't quite get it completely in, though. Haynes fights back, gets it locked in himself, but Hercules is close enough to the ropes to sort of move the momentum. They both go flying out of the ring, and for some reason, Billy Jack Haynes puts the full Nelson on outside the ring, and of course, Dubbo gets counted out. They both do. Bobby Heenan attacks Haynes from behind. He's been Hercules' corner man throughout this whole nonsense. And Hercules gives chase to Heenan. And we see Hercules wrapping that chain of his around his arm, clobbering Billy Jack Haynes. And they leave Billy in a pool of blood. And that is how the second match ends. This was a D. Oh, it wasn't just there. Like, there was a nice story behind the match, which is who's the best at full Nelson, but this was a really shonky affair. Like, just wasn't much in the way of flow and motion with these lads, and just the finish at the end made Haynes look silly, and the blood was unnecessary. Up next is a very memorable six-man tag team attraction. It is King Kong Bundy teaming with Little Tokyo and Lord Littlebrook to face Hillbilly Jim, the Haiti Kid, and Little Beaver. A 6-man tag where Bundy and Hillbilly can interact and everybody else has to interact on their own as well. This was comedy shenanigans for most of this. Crowd come alive a bit when Bundy and Hillbilly are fighting each other. Little Beaver keeps jumping into the ring and attacking King Kong Bundy. And eventually Bundy has enough of this, drops him with a body slam and then a big old elbow drop. It looks like he's going to hit him with the big Bundy splash as well. But then Bundy's teammates all team up with Hillbilly Jim and the Haiti Kid to stop it from happening. And Bundy just takes a powder. Whoa. This was an E. Well, this is a dud. This is just... This was just really unfunny, and the crowd weren't that bothered in the whole thing as well. And also, the elbow drop wasn't meant to happen. King Kong Bundy was meant to have the elbow drop stopped, but nobody was in the right place at the right time. So Bundy ends up dropping a full-on elbow on Little Beaver. He retired that year because of that elbow. Bless him. We get a hyped-up Macho Man Randy Savage backstage. He's defending his Intercontinental title later on in what I'm sure will be a good match. Wink, wink, wink. King Harley Race heads out now to face the Junkyard Dog. The loser must bow to the winner. This is pretty much all JYD. Few little flurries from Harley early on, including a ridiculous-looking headbutt off the apron, where it looks like Harley Race is doing that fall through the bar that Del Boy did in Only Fools and Horses, but onto the floor in the middle of the Silverdome. JYD is just JYD here. Punches, kicks, headbutts, growling, stretches, all this stuff. Looks like the dog is going to beat the king, but then here is running distraction Bobby Heenan. He's had a busy night tonight, is Heenan. And in the ensuing chaos, we see Harley Race get a belly-to-belly on the JYD for a very sudden 1, 2, 3. In fact, it looks like JYD even kicks out at 2.999, but be that as it may, the count goes down and JYD has to bow to King Harley Race. So he gives he plays through, he gives a very short little bow and then just clobbers him with a chair. Takes his robe and heads off. Giving this a D+, it wasn't bad, it wasn't great either, it's just very basic. Try if you can to separate NWA Harley Race, you know, the old NWA Harley Race. I am the greatest NWA champion of all time. Forget that one. This is King Harley Race. It's a very different one. Let's focus on that. Pretend they're different people. Otherwise, it just hurts too much. We get a wild Hulk Hogan promo. He's talking about climbing mountains and Andre the Giant having to defeat all the Hulkamaniacs and defeat the Truth and all this stuff. An 80s hyped up Hogan promo. There it is. You know what? You could power a small village with it, I'm pretty sure. We move from that straight into our next match, and it's the Rougeau brothers taking on the Dream Team, Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake. They've got Johnny Valiant and Dino Bravo in their corner. Don't get why this match happened initially. I mean, as hindsight will tell us, there is some reasoning for this. But the Rougeaus get a little bit of reaction from the crowd. They have a couple of good flurries, but this is about the Dream Team, Greg and Brutus doing their thing. There's a miscommunication that sees Brutus and Greg banging heads at one point. This leads to the Rougeaus hitting a beauty of a powerbomb hip press double combo off the top rope that should put the team away. But here comes Dino Bravo to break up the count illegally, and the Dream Team get the pin. 1, 2, 3. Brutus manages to just about eke out the pin, despite the fact that it was his miscalculation that almost caused the Dream Team to lose. And boy, are they mad about it. We see Greg and Valiant and Dino all getting in the face of Brutus Beefcake, and they all get in the WrestleMania buggy and head off all the way up to the top without him. They leave Brutus in the ring. Bit mean. This is a D+, not the most exciting of affairs again, but this serves a greater purpose in about 20 minutes time. It's Adrian Adonis now versus Rowdy Roddy Piper. Piper has been attacked backstage by Adonis. Piper has smashed up the flower shop, Adonis's chat show. We've seen them go back and forth, attacking one another. We've seen Piper get cologne sprayed in his eyes, and now we have a hair versus hair match at WrestleMania 3. Okay. Oh, and also, this is Roddy Piper's retirement match. It's quite a lot to unpack here. Piper and Adonis immediately just start breaking into strikes. Just a punching affair. There's a leather belt introduced into this and they're whipping each other back and forth. You've got Jimmy Hart constantly trying to get amongst it and get involved. He keeps getting thrown around like some sort of well-dressed rag doll. We see Adonis lock the sleeper onto Piper late in the game after Hart has blasted Piper with some more of the cologne, and Piper is fading in the corner. This is where it gets a bit daft. So Piper is fading in the corner and Adonis has got the sleeper on. The referee checks Piper's hand twice, and on the second drop, Adonis just lets go of the sleeper. Stands up as if he's won the thing, celebrating with Jimmy Hart, to which the ref has to go over and go, no, you haven't won, I only checked his hand twice. Learn to count, boys. Whilst the ref is chatting to Adonis and Hart, here's Brutus Beefcake. What? Gets into the ring, slaps Roddy Piper awake. Piper's back up, he's been rejuvenated by the slaps of Beefcake, comes at Adonis, locks in the sleeper, down goes Adonis's arm 3 times. Adonis is out, Piper wins the match, and Brutus Beefcake is in there with the shears, and he is shaving the head of Adrian Adonis. I wonder whether there is something in Brutus Beefcake kind of making this more part of his repertoire. Maybe like becoming a barber. Nah, probably won't work that. Roddy Piper ends the night, a smile on his face with the signs in the crowd saying, "We will miss you, Hot Rod." And it's a beautiful moment. Giving this match a B-, you know, this wasn't the most technical of affairs, but it was full of action. It was sports entertainment at its absolute finest, and probably been some of the most lively action that we've seen so far all night, in my opinion. And Piper's good sport. Him and Adonis bounced around a lot. This was fun. The Hart Foundation next, teaming with disgraced referee Danny Davis. He's had his referee's license taken off him, and now he is a fully fledged wrestler, and he is competing along with the Hart Foundation against the British Bulldogs, flanked by Matilda and Tito Santana. This is a cracker of a 6-man tag, just a work rate heavy 6-man tag, and it's great when you consider the fact that Dynamite Kid has suffered a back injury just a few months before this. So this match was set up to take some of the pressure off of Dynamite Kid. And Bret Hart's in there as well. And you can see Bret Hart very much doing the heavy lifting in this affair, to the surprise of nobody. The match builds until Danny Davis is in the ring, and we see Tito Santana getting himself a piece of Danny Davis, a man who has crossed his path multiple times over the last few months. Danny Davis takes a shoo-in at the end of this match, mainly from Bulldog, who hits him with a tombstone pile driver, a big old suplex, the running power slam, and it looks like he's done, but we get a schmoz in the ring, everybody jumps in, and in the ensuing chaos, Danny Davis is throwing the megaphone from Jimmy Hart, clocks Bulldog with the megaphone, and Danny Davis just pinned one half of the British Bulldogs. Shocking affair. They then take a powder before anything bad can happen. Giving this a B-. This was a really strong 6-man tag, as I say. All the players in this played their part really well. Some good wrestling on show here, away from some of the sports entertainment-y stuff that we've seen tonight. This was just some really good wrestling. Oh, and also, Matilda was amazing here. What a good doggo. Stood perfectly nicely waiting as the buggy came down, got in the ring, attacked Jimmy Hart as expected, waited nicely for Jesse Ventura to take him back. What a good doggo. We transition into the natural Butch Reed versus Koko B. Ware. Very brave of WWE to let Frankie come to the ring with Koko B. Ware. That parrot was, I would thought, at no point is that parrot not gonna stick around at ringside. He's gone. He's heading up through the Silver Dome. But very, very good parrot. This was there. There wasn't much to write home about this. Just a bit of a dragged out affair between Butch Reed and Koko B. Ware. Finish comes when Koko goes for a crossbody. Butch Reed rolls through, pulls the tights. Cheeky heel win, 1, 2, 3. At the sound of the bell, we see Tito Santana emerge, charges down the ring, and he's going for Butch Reed's manager, the Doctor of Style, Slick. Again, somebody else that Tito's had problems with over the last couple of months. And Tito's ripping the suit off of Slick, and Slick manages just to get out of there, hightailing it, leaving Butch Reed to eat a double dropkick from Santana and Coco Beware. Giving this a D, pretty bland affair from both. Nothing terrible about it, it was just... yeah, it's just a bit of filler, wasn't it? It's just a bit of filler. We come now to the most talked about WrestleMania 3 match behind the main event. It is Randy Savage defending his Intercontinental Championship against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Savage crushed Steamboat's larynx. And this is Steamboat out for revenge. He's going to take the IC title from Savage in the process. Savage has Elizabeth with him at ringside, whereas Steamboat has brought George the Animal Steel, somebody that has had a bit of back and forth with Randy Savage as of late, somebody that also kidnapped Miss Elizabeth as of recently. But he's the good guy, so that kind of kidnapping's all right because he likes her and he's going to be nice to her. So that kind of kidnapping's all right, apparently. They start slow and they just build this beautiful tapestry of a wrestling match. Some of the offense from Savage is working over the larynx of Steamboat. Steamboat is able just to keep in the game with some crisp offense as well. Savage takes to just constantly throwing Steamboat out of the ring at one point. And there's one point where Steamboat manages to do the skin the cat routine long before Shawn Michaels did it. Hips himself back into the ring, only to get clotheslined straight back out again. We'll pop a pin in that. We'll use that another time. The Dragon perseveres though, and he keeps on coming back at Randy Savage. We get a hell of a false finish in this. Steamboat comes off the top with an almighty chop, takes down Savage and pins him, but at 2.5, Savage gets his foot on the ropes. And this is such a great false finish because even the ref stops counting, but the crowd you see in the background are coming to their feet because they're like, that's it, he's done it, he's won. And it's like, oh no, he hasn't. No, the foot's on the rope. Oh, this is amazing. They trade so many amazing near falls as we get into the final stages of this match. The referee gets knocked down in some of the ensuing chaos, and Savage goes out the ring to get the ring bell, the weapon that he used against Steamboat all those months ago. George the Animal Steel tries to take the ring bell off him, but to no avail. But when Savage gets up to the very top rope, there's George the Animal Steel to hoy him off the top rope and send him crashing to the ground. The moment is taken by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to get a roll up inside cradle, small package type affair on Savage. 1, 2, 3. Ricky Steamboat is the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. Giving this match an A-. Bet you thought I was going to say A+, didn't you? Like I'm some kind of hipster wrestling fan. I'm not. But it was great. This was the match of the night so far, without a shadow of a doubt. If you don't think that, then you're missing the trick somewhere. These two put on a perfect story throughout the match as it progressed and progressed and progressed. I think it needed a clean win for Steamboat, though. And I think we forget that when we retell the story of this match. We forget that it's actually a really tainted win for Steamboat. Because if it wasn't for George the Animal Steel throwing Savage off the top rope, Steamboat might not have won. Lest we forget. I feel like that takes away from it a little bit, but be that as it may, best match of the night still stands up now as a really great match to watch. It's an A-. We continue. The Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart takes on Jake Roberts with Alice Cooper. That's Alice Cooper. This came about when Honky Tonk Man kabongs Jake the Snake Roberts in the snake pit, and Jake's gone and got himself some rock and roll backup, hasn't he? Jake starts this off immediately, jumping Honky as he's trying to get into the ring. He just fights Honky Tonk all around the ring. We see Honky Tonk Man throw Jake into the ring post to get a little bit of the advantage. He starts beating down on the snake in the ring, goes for the shake, rattle and roll. This is where Jake starts to fight back, looks for the DDT, and there's Jimmy Hart grabbing the foot of Jake the Snake to stop it going down, and Honky Tonk Man takes the opportunity to do a schoolboy roll up using the ropes for leverage. Cheeky 1, 2, 3, dirty victory for the Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man takes a powder out of there, leaving Jimmy Hart alone in the ring with Jake Roberts, Alice Cooper, and Damien the Snake. And we see Alice Cooper chuck Damien onto Jimmy Hart. Massive roar from the crowd. Honky Top Man comes and saves Jimmy, and he scampers off to the back looking white as his sheet. Alice Cooper and Jake Roberts made a good combo here. As for the match itself, I'm gonna give it a C+. I thought it was a good match, strong match. These guys work well together, but this is roughly the 497th time tonight that we have seen good guy dominates match, tiny bit of shenanigans, heel takes the win. Getting a bit repetitive now, lads. Gene Oakland informs us we have an attendance record of 93,173. That number changes depending on the mood that Hulk Hogan is in when you ask him. Interestingly, Vince McMahon may have helped this number along a bit with some TV-based nonsense. He actually restricted pay-per-view access in Michigan. So if you lived in the state hosting WrestleMania, if you wanted to see it, you had to buy a ticket. Quite a few people did. It still stands as whatever, I know the number gets fudged over the years, but whatever the number, it's still an impressive number. And I always am in awe when I watch WrestleMania and I just see how big that crowd is. The WWF thank the fans for helping set this amazing milestone by offering the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov versus the Killer Bees. Sheik and Volkov, oh, they look ropey at WrestleMania 1. We're 2 years on now. Good luck, everybody. Volkov starts trying to sing the national anthem for Russia, and he's interrupted by Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who chases him away from the ring. Jim Duggan looking like Bruce Springsteen if he was being cosplayed by Matt Berry. This is a weird look. Anyway, Toaster Duggan now acts as the ringside guy for most of this match. Killer Bees make their way out after all this, and the fight is on. Bees dominate Sheik and Volkov for a bit. Volkov and Sheik eventually take over. A lot of the story is Duggan just knocking around outside the ring. Iron Sheik locks in the camel clutch on Jim Brunzell. In comes Duggan, not even in this match, with his 2x4, just clobbers the Iron Sheik in the back. Sheik and Volkov win by DQ and head off up the ramp being chased by Duggan. Duggan gets back in the ring to lead the fans in a chant of USA. The Killer Bees join in as well, which is ridiculous. I'd be livid with him. Hang on, I'm not going to chant with you. You just cost us our match. Oh, this was a D. This wasn't particularly anything special. This was all a device, I think, just to get Jim Duggan over. I think there were big plans for Jim Duggan at this point. It is main event time, and this is the reason we are all packed into the Silver Dome. It is Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant for the WWF Championship. It's a tale of a friendship gone sour. Bobby Heenan getting in the head of Andre the Giant, convincing him to turn his back on his long-serving best friend Hulk Hogan and challenge for the championship. This is what it all comes down to. We get a bug-eyed promo from Hulk Hogan, a very French promo from Andre the Giant. We get announcements from guest ring announcer Mr. Baseball Bob Uecker. We get timekeeping from guest timekeeper Mary Hart. And here we go. Andre and Hogan, that iconic moment when they are stood in the center of the ring, flash bulbs, tens of thousands of people. Gorilla Monsoon utters the immortal line, the irresistible force meets the immovable object. Mwah. He then claims Andre is 7'5", and I think that's a bit of Boulder Dash. Here's the thing, Andre and Hogan have had matches in the past. And it was back when Andre had a little bit more mobility. But Andre the Giant is beyond his years now. He is very, very limited in what he can do. He had some really major back surgery just before this match, a few months before, just to get him in enough shape, just to get through the match. They had Paul Orndorff on standby for the main event of WrestleMania 3 right up until the 11th hour because there was that much doubt that Andre could make it. And also, as I discovered when researching this, Andre the Giant drank a dozen bottles of wine before this match started, partly as a nerve controller, maybe, mainly as a painkiller. So that's what we're working with here. Andre is incredibly limited in there, but what the thing is with Andre is he doesn't need to do loads because he's a giant. He kind of moves around like that final boss in a video game, just slow and methodical, wears down Hogan with clubs and slams, squashes in the corner. Hogan every so often will rally, but he'll immediately get cut off. He'll rally again, he'll get cut down. The finish comes when Hogan, with the last burst of energy, just gives an almighty clatter to Andre with a clothesline, manages to scoop him up for the body slam, hits the leg drop, 1, 2, 3, and Hogan retains the WWF Championship over Andre the Giant. And that is your WrestleMania 3 main event. We have the iconic scene of Hogan in the ring, doing all the poses, hot dogging and grandstanding. And we see Andre and a deflated Bobby Heenan heading back in that WrestleMania buggy as garbage is pelted at them. That is how WrestleMania 3 goes off the air. Oh, grading this match is tough, right? I'm gonna give him a grade. You're gonna tell me I'm wrong, but I'm gonna justify my actions, okay? B-, right? Okay, B-. If I was grading this on the match, just the match, if you remove the story, if you remove the importance of the match, if you remove the significance of the players, and if you remove the entire atmosphere for that night, and if you just focus on the match that we saw, it's a dud. It is a dud. It's a dud of a match. It just is. But we are talking about a match that is built around a friendship that's gone bad, and it's been built so beautifully over the last 6 to 12 months. It's been so well honed and put together. It is at the top of the biggest WrestleMania to date. It has packed out the Silverdome, and the place is absolutely rumbling for everything they are doing. They are hot for this match the entire way through. And it's a real symbolic moment when Hogan slams Andre. The amount of images, lines, photos that have come from this one match in wrestling really just cements its status beyond match quality. Really, it does. So the B- that I'm giving it is the kindest of grades I possibly can. I simply cannot give it an A. I simply cannot, because there is so much in this match that is just a bit crap. B- is the best I'm going to do, and that B- is literally based on backstory, players, crowd, and maybe a tiny bit of some of the moments in the match, like the big old Hail Mary clothesline from Hogan, and the actual body slam itself, of course, which is iconic. B- from me. Don't even at me. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments, you normally do. Overall, I'm giving WrestleMania 3 a C+. Now, if WrestleMania 3 had been in the sold-out Pontiac Silverdome and had just been Steamboat versus Savage and then Hogan slamming Andre, you'd have had a hit on your hands. You'd have had an A+, because those moments were brilliant. But we had more than that. This is basically like ordering 2 gold nuggets from Amazon and having it arrive in an extra large box full of packing material. So it's just, there is a lot of fluff and a lot of filler on this show. A lot of stuff that didn't deserve to be there, and a lot of stuff that really drags the average down. But you cannot underestimate the importance of this WrestleMania. It was the biggest they had done to date, and it features, as we say, some really iconic moments in wrestling history. Wrestling moments that stand to this very day. And the next time you see a GIF of Hogan slamming Andre, the fact that it is a GIF in 2020 shows you the true significance. Stay safe. Love you, bye.